Oh, there she goes. Hello friends, and welcome to another figure study where we appreciate the form in Transformers, although this time we're actually going to be appreciating the form in enhancements for Transformers. Now, a while back, I did a video, which there will be a link in the description. I did a video for the X2 Toys XT009 upgrade kit for Legends Ultra Magnus, which this is. And I still have that kit attached. You can kind of tell mostly from the trailer with the blue bits here and this extra junk hanging off the back. But I did that video a while back. I also did a video on Ultra Magnus himself, but I have since gotten my hands on the PC-17 Perfect Effect Core Magnus upgrade kit, which is pretty much just this guy right here. And with this, I think I am just done upgrading this Ultra Magnus. I think I've done enough to him. I suppose repro labels could be an option, but honestly, I don't think he needs them. Primarily, I'm just going to be looking at the Perfect Effect kit, but I think this might be useful to anyone who's wondering just how it's all going to look if you get the Perfect Effect kit and you have the X2 kit to go with it. Personally, I think the two together make for a really great toy. We're going to get to that all in like robot mode stuff, but first things first, going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that happens in the vehicle mode and then move on to the good stuff. So first off, you'll notice I don't have any of the accessories attached aside from the missile pod things because I wanted to show how that could work. So there's the gun hammer thing from the X2 Toys kit, and here is the little rifle that comes with the Perfect Effects kit. So I wasn't entirely sure the best way to store these, and you do have some options, but you know, you've got these pegs here that we'll just move you off to the side for now. So you've got these pegs that you can put like here. You know, there are options. You could also just do that if you wanted. So what I've been doing is just attaching it there so that it kind of gives like a very large exhaust pipe effect. So that's a thing. When it came to attaching this, I was kind of wondering what to do with it because I didn't want to leave any parts behind, but I wasn't entirely sure the best way to store it. So, as with this, you can just peg the handle here or here. You can have it going that way, you can have it going up. What I've actually found works pretty great for just keeping it out of the way is there's actually a peg hole here that fits just right with the peg on the X2 rifle. So you can actually double them up and do kind of like a double smokestack thing. I mean, it's not necessary, and it does, you know, sticks up a lot, but, you know, you could turn it or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to be displaying it in vehicle mode primarily anyway, but it's an option for storage. And I like the fact that the Perfect Effect gun just can peg easily onto the side of the X2 rifle. Not entirely sure if this was designed with this in mind. Probably not, but it works. You can also peg it in there if you want to do that. So you got options. Options are cool. Now in terms of how the Perfect Effect upgrade kit affects the trailer, it doesn't really do much. As I said, these are the feet from the X2 kit, which you have a couple of options on dealing with these, which I covered in the previous video. You could tuck them on the inside or on the outside. I prefer to have them on the outside because I feel like this looks better and still leaves the inside open for potential vehicle storage. And the only other thing that's, well, actually, the only thing that's different from the Perfect Effect kit is the chest plate here, which sits in the same spot as the old chest plate, but it comes up a little bit more. You can kind of see it right there. But it actually sits in there quite well. Like, it doesn't feel like it's going to pop out. You know, it's like it can move a little bit, but my hand out of the way. But it's in there pretty good. And it doesn't, unlike the other normal chest plate, I don't feel like I'm going to break anything trying to put everything together, because it sits in there snugly, but you don't have to worry about like these little extra bits back here tucking inside little plastic pieces, so it works quite well. I mean, you still have, you know, the typical issues with the inside of the trailer being a little bit all over the place and gappy in places, but I actually feel like this chest plate works a little bit better than the default one anyway, because it's still hollow, but it comes up a little bit more, so it creates a little bit more of a flat-ish surface for any potential vehicles that would go in there to sit on. Bring this back in here real quick. Now, in terms of the main event of the Perfect Effect upgrade, two things that kind of stink about this mode is, as with the X2 kit, you had to disconnect the cab, so that meant there was nothing really holding it in place. Hi. Alright, Astrid cameo again. Hi, honey. You let me keep going? So, as I was saying, this has the same problem as the X2 kit because it doesn't... I'm trying to illustrate a point, honey. You can settle down anywhere else, not in front of the camera. So, as I was saying, you don't have the solid connection here, or you didn't have the solid connection here with the X2 kit, so these were, you know, if you put them down, the cab stayed connected to the trailer, but that was the best you got. Unfortunately, with this kit, it's the same deal. This just does not stay connected. There's this little peg hole there that this will peg into. Cattail in the way. So it sits like that, but it just sits. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't connect solidly enough that you can just pick it up as one thing. Like the cab and the trailer come separate. Other problem with this is it can't turn more than this without bumping into stuff. And that's because the way that the cab ends up connecting once it's in the little peg hole is you've got what is basically the robot feet hitting this here, and like it sort of turns a little, but eventually like this starts to move up. So if you're keeping it on a flat surface, you're not going to be able to turn it like that. You're going to have to kind of turn it separately. Like you're going to have to lift it, separate it a little bit, and then turn it, because that is not, like you can see, that does not want to turn on its own. I mean, you can still make it work. It just requires a little bit of effort to, like, if you wanted to, say, set it up like this, where it looks like the truck is turning, you'd have to separate the cab from the trailer. All right, your trailer. As for the cab itself, you know, it's a much more classic-looking Optimus, or Ultra Magnus in this case, cab. And this is completely pulled from Perfect Effects Super Jinrai upgrade kit. Like, it still has the flip around panel for the Power Master gimmick, but you never actually use it because this is not a Power Master. Like, it doesn't come with the little engine thing. Though I imagine if you have the little engine thing from the Super Jinrai upgrade kit, you could attach it there. So this is quite well detailed for being a tiny upgrade thing. Lots of nice little details in silver paint, and also the kind of metallic blue for the windows all the way around. Painted the rims, which I always appreciate. One thing that is a little disappointing is the dual, like they have the truck cab and then the faux truck cab on the back, complete with grille, which is a little bit but when this is attached as a trailer, like with the trailer on it, you're not going to notice. And little brake lights on the back. So yeah, it tucks away pretty nicely, and it's just a nice little truck cab. The bumper is a very, very bright red that when it's got the trailer, it's fine because it kind of ties into the red of the trailer, but just standalone, it's a little bit weird that you've got this predominantly white and sort of gunmetal cab, and then bright red bumper. There is a reason for that, though, which we will see in the full robot mode. But anyway, that's it for the cab, so let's take a look at this guy's sort of individual smaller robot mode. Alright, so here we have the mini Magnus in his robot mode, and this looks pretty freaking cool. I mean, really, it calls to mind like a modernized, upgraded version of the classic Ultra Magnus, which was just like regular old Optimus Prime. And I mean the classic as in like, 80s version, whereas just the standard Optimus Prime in white that tucked into this trailer for like an armor mode. And this little guy is pretty darn cool. He looks really nice. Like, yeah, it's a fake truck cab, but it pulls it off well. It's got just some nice, like, I really like how he's white, but like there's a lot of nice gray and gunmetal throughout that just keeps him from being completely stark. I mean, most of this detail was truck cab detail, technically. Like the arms, you get the detailing there, and the legs, these are like the top back of the cab there. I guess technically these are new details because these panels flip inside out, which is nice. It's a nice little trick how the legs kind of fold out like that. Yeah, looks quite good. I really do like the detailing on this guy, the coloring. The molding is really nice too. One thing that's also cool that I was noticing when I was messing with this guy, you get, because of the transformation, you get a little bit more of a joint here, which is cool for posing, but they also molded detail in on the inside there, which is completely unnecessary, but that's very cool. I like that detail's there. And his face is very much sort of old school Optimus Prime, with that just all white, with a little bit of that metallic blue and a little bit of turquoise for the head crest. That turquoise does not appear anywhere else on the figure, but it's the head, so it's fine. And red eyes, which a little bit, a little evil looking. Yeah, this guy's very neat. And while I don't normally do accessory stuff, there we go. There, he's got his very much Optimus Prime rifle. I was also surprised that for as simple as this guy is, like his transformation's not very complex, and he serves like 3 purposes. It's got to be a truck cab, an individual figure, and a torso. This guy's very well articulated. He's got like an actual ab crunch, like a devoted ab crunch, and you can just get some very, very cool and dynamic poses out of this guy. Like that's great. This guy is very, very posable for something that's actually quite tiny. Well, not tiny, but it's, well, here, I'll show you what I mean. Get you standing straight again. Tiny was a poor choice of words, as he is a bit taller than a Titan's Return Deluxe. And of course, yeah. So he's not tiny. He's comparatively small to the armored up mode, but he is, yeah, it's just, I'm just amazed that they even bothered to give him that much articulation, because they really didn't need to. He's, I doubt too many people are going to be displaying him like this, but if they did, they'd have a very, very posable little action figure. It's really neat, actually. Alright, so it is about time to get into the full combined mode, but before we do that, I'm gonna quick off-camera move him back into cab mode so I can do like a proper size comparison there, because I completely forgot to do that. Okay, so there we go, size comparison. There's the PC-17 PC-17 cab and a Titan's Turn Deluxe. So you can see the cab it's a little bit bigger than Deluxe size in cab mode. And there's Samus. And also, forgot to point this out, but you can store the rifle in this section here. There's actually the handle's long enough that it'll go down, and then there's this square kind of shape around it that fits into this square bit here. So that just, it's not like it's secure enough that it's not going to fall out, but it's not like, you know, if you go to, yeah, it holds, but it doesn't hold super securely, but it's fine. And realistically speaking, I doubt many people are going to store it this way anyway, because what's the point of having this guy if you don't have the cab attached to him? Right? Alright, so that is enough of that. Let's get this guy into his torso mode. Now, it is a bit easier going into the torso mode from the truck mode because there's not as much you have to do, but for robot, if you're going from robot mode, it's basically get him back into cab mode. So, there we go. Right, so there he is in torso mode. It's very simple, really. The only challenging bit is, like, in the directions, I had trouble figuring out what they wanted me to do with the smokestacks until I realized you basically have to rotate, turn, because there's not enough clearance if you go from this side because of these bits here. So basically, you just have to flip it up and go around that way. So it's a little bit of a thing having to do that, like, twice, but And we'll bring in the torso itself. Bring this up so you can actually see what's happening here. All right, so getting this lined up. First thing is you want to pull this out. And then this will actually click. It's like a little soft click there. And it'll click in place when you push it in, too. So this is the regular robot torso mode. Then we bring in this guy, and this square and circular bit here will actually peg over the trailer hitch here. And you're actually going to want to bring that down a little bit because that actually will help it fit properly. So just bring it in, line it up, push it into place, push it into place. There we go. And then this comes down. And the trickiest part is getting it lined up so that this is like not shifted to the side. The cab doesn't sit as flush with the upgrade as it does with the official cab. Like there's actually some space on the sides. So because of that, it's possible that it'll like shift a little bit, but it's not too hard to fix after the fact. So bring this up, and this bit will actually go over this section here, and then there are little slot things here that'll clamp over the original spots. So if everything is lined up, bring that in and peg it into place. Make sure that this is not crooked. I think it's slightly crooked. There we go. That should be okay. And there we have the PC-17 Core Magnus upgrade kit with the X2 upgrade kit. And now the X2 kit, you can kind of see the enhancements that it has done is the forearms and fists here, the shins and feet here, the backs of the thighs are filled in, and there's these little bits here. And the other thing, the one thing that I wasn't sure about with the X2 kit was whether or not the X2 faceplate would work with this. Because if you haven't seen it, the X2 faceplate kit, or the X2 kit comes with this faceplate that you swap out, and it actually allows you to swap faces, and it comes with a few different faces. And it just attaches to the regular Ultra Magnus head. And I wasn't sure if it was going to work with this, but it totally does. because as you can tell, this is not the this is not the official Ultra Magnus face. And attaching the head is really easy. Once you get it detached from the regular cab, there's this little red bit that it actually just clips in. So this is clipped in. It's not like screwed in. But it holds really solidly, like really solidly, and it looks good. Like you get the left and right, but you also get some up and down. It's not. I mean, the up and down isn't super useful. Like I don't really see Ultra Magnus needing to look up that often, but it's cool. It's a little bit on the loose side, but it holds position. Like it's easy to move, but it holds its position wherever you put it. The only thing that stinks about this is the panel that comes up that this is attached to. An arm out of the way. This gray panel down here, it doesn't lock in anywhere. So if you're pushing down, it can just you could end up pushing his head back down into his chest cavity a little bit, but you can just pull it back up. And it's not going to fall on its own, but if you're pushing down on it, it'll go back down. Now for the chest, move him back a little bit, angle him so that we can actually get a good view of it. It's boxier than the chest piece, than the default chest piece, but at first I wasn't sure about it, but actually seeing it in person, I really like this. I was a little bit worried because the blue here is not color matched very well at all, but it's just the blue on the left and right sort of pec areas there. The other bits of blue are actually color matched pretty darn well. So it doesn't it doesn't stand out like I was worried it was going to. The red is probably a slightly different red, but you don't really notice because your eye's focused right in here and you get the red here and the red here. And this is why the bumper for the cab is red, because it blends in and adds to this chest design where you get just the red there, and that comes together to make a really nice shape. Then you got this darker red for the fold-up belly piece that doesn't quite match, but it's close to the red for the hips. So again, it's fine. And yeah, just color-wise, it works really well. Shape-wise, I thought I was going to miss the slightly more techno-organic curviness of the default chest plate, but this actually works really, really well. This bulks him out just a tiny bit more in the chest area, and it looks really nice. He doesn't even have that much of a backpack. This is a little bit bigger than the backpack that he would have from the regular cab, but only slightly. And it's really most of that is just how far down it comes. So it works out really well. In terms of weapons and storage, this has, can peg in to his legs, but he has little pegs on his feet, and I find that it's actually just really easy to peg it to the bottom of his foot, and then out of sight, out of mind. And then, of course, you've got the big old rifle that can extend and have the shoulder bits attached to make it a hammer. So yeah, this is a very, very cool combination of upgrades. I do even though it's a pain, I mean, not a huge pain, but it is a little annoying. I do like how you get these smokestacks coming up over his shoulders when you transform the cab like that. And of course, you do also get the windows kind of peeking through there, which is hard to see because of the lighting. Yeah, it's hard to see, but they're there. And yeah, this just taken as a whole thing, it looks fantastic. Actually, I'm going to peg this into his hand real quick so we can get the full effect. All right, and push him back a little bit so we can try and get his whole body into the frame. Yeah, I think that works. So yeah, that looks really cool. Really, really cool. Now let's do our size comparisons real quick. There is little Orion Pax and Samus. And I mean, the Perfect Effect upgrade does not add any height to him. The X2 upgrade makes him a tiny bit taller just because of the feet. But if you have Legends Ultra Magnus or Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus, then you know how tall he is. There's no real difference there. All right, come here. But this looks just so fantastic. I don't remember if I mentioned it in my X2 video or not, but it was one of those things where I don't think I need a Masterpiece Ultra Magnus now. I mean, I'm not saying Masterpiece Ultra Magnus is bad. I'm not saying that. I've never gotten my hands on it. I don't have a, personal direct opinion on it either way. But just purely based on aesthetics and what the toy can do, I'm completely content with this. Between the default figure looking really good as it is, and just everything that the X2 and the Perfect Effect kit adds, this is as good as an Ultra Magnus as I think I need right now. It all looks great, and everything kind of blends together really well. The original toy bits, the X2 upgrades like the shins and the feet, and the forearms and the hands, Perfect Effect upgrade, which is just everything in the torso there, and then like the head for the X2 kit, like it all works really well together, and it's really cool. And I am super happy that the X2 head works with the Perfect Effect kit, because that would have been disappointing. But yeah, as you saw, it fits into the chest cavity just perfectly fine. So when you're in cab or smaller robot mode, there's no problem. And for regular Ultra Magnus mode, it's totally fine as well. It works. It all works. It all blends together in my mind seamlessly. And if you got yourself a Legends Ultra Magnus, or even a Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus, I think it's worth considering getting a hold of these two upgrade kits. Though I should point out, the X2 kit that I have is specifically for Legends Ultra Magnus. So the colors are made to match the Takara version as opposed to the Hasbro version. So if you have the Hasbro version from Combiner Wars and you want to get an upgrade kit, you'll probably want to find the appropriate X2 upgrade kit, which is specifically for that figure. But regardless, this looks really freaking cool. And it looked really cool before. Now I feel like it looks even cooler. I just really love how this all comes together. And again, I thought I was going to prefer the slightly more curvy and semi-techno-organic looking chest plate, but I feel like this actually fits the aesthetic for the rest of the toy a lot better, with things that are just a little bit boxier. Like, there's still a little bit of smoothness in there, but it's mostly boxiness, and I think that I'm trying to do like the mwah kind of thing, and I can't do it on camera from this angle, but you know what I'm talking about. This looks great. Anyway, that is going to do it. So that has been my look at the PC-17 Perfect Effect Core Magnus upgrade kit for Ultra Magnus. This kit, I believe, will work with either one. There's not like a specific one you need for Legends or Combiner Wars, but yeah, totally worth it. And as also previously stated, it was looking at it in conjunction with the X2 upgrade kit. So thank you everybody for watching. As per usual, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Any combination of those three would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is, I guess, it's been customized a lot, but it's still more than meets the eye.